Howdy, howdy. In this video, I am going to build a deck for a viewer who messaged me on Discord. He just opened his first few packs and said, I got a few cards that I like. What deck do you think I can build? And I want to go ahead and take that opportunity to build that deck for him and send him some of those cards that I have. I don't have every card. I don't have full play sets just sitting around. I have a very humble collection. But I do got a few extra bulk cards. I want to build a deck and kind of go through again another deck building video showcasing my process. And if you want to have your deck looked at, you can upload it in the Codex, or if you have cards that you want to know more about, by all means, do what this guy did. And first off, smash the subscribe button or gently tap it if that's more your jam. And find me on Discord, American Texan. In the Wonders Discord, I'll have a link down below. But after all the packs that he opened, he really was jamming with the Solaris Stormcaster. He showed me a few more heliosynth cards he has. And of course, you know, this is only about a tenth of a deck, but I'm going to go ahead and build a deck around these cards. I'm going to show you how I use the Codex. Maybe you'll learn something about maybe some deck building. I'm by no means professional. I'm by no means a world champion, but we're going to have fun doing this together. And then once we have a deck locked in, I have some of those extra cards that I'm going to send this viewer in the mail so he can have, if not a full deck, at least enough to know what he needs to try to trade for next. And we have such a great community. I am betting that if there's a card that he needs for a deck, he's going to find it in the community. And I am betting that a community member would send him some cards, even if it's a mythic. I bet someone would send him a card if he needs it for a deck. All right, so let's look at this here. So he opened some packs. He sent me some of his favorite cards, but he wants to build a heliosynth deck. He only opened a handful of packs, but he really likes Solaris Stormcaster. When equipped, Wonder attacks target enemy Wonder in this realm gets -X, where X is the equipped Wonder's power. So you've got the Solaris Stormcaster, you put it on a giant monster, a giant creature, a giant Wonder, and when they attack, something in that realm is going to get -X, where it's the power. And this is attuned heliosynth. So you could be sitting there with one action and the person thinks, well, maybe they're going to attack in one realm. Well, you put this in a different realm on a different Wonder. And then when you attack, you can essentially take away one of the Wonders on that. And now you're winning that realm. So it's a great little psychological play. Again, let me run that through again. So let's say that you have one action left. They think your opponent thinks you're going to attack in realm 2, for example. So, they protect realm 2, but now you use your free action to actually equip this in realm 3, and it's essentially doubling the power of one of your Wonders. So you put it on a 5 power Wonder. Well, now when you attack, before the battle is over, but when you attack, an enemy Wonder in their realm, maybe they're winning, gets -5, right? So you can either destroy one of their Wonders or just give them down to -5 while you're attacking with a 5. Maybe they had 7, you had 5. Now they got 2 and you got 5, and you can take that stone with your last action. And you're essentially doing 2 because this has attuned, which means it's not using up an action. So I think that's a great one. Now let's look at the other cards that he has. He has Circuitous Q7. On arrival, gain 2 faith. Spend 5 faith, stun target Wonder in this realm. Again, a very nice, what I call a defensive offensive weapon, where you're using it in an offensive way, but if you spend the 5 faith and you can stun a target Wonder, which means that they go down to 0 power and they can't attack, but then you can attack or you can defend. Either way, you can do some manipulation there. And it's on arrival, so if you can find a way to bring it back to your hand, bring it out again, or trigger the arrival twice, there's a couple ways to do that. Then we got a catch. It's a fan favorite of a card. You can move target item you own to target realm. You control that item. All right, so you can use this to take an item, maybe that's Solaris Stormcaster, to a different realm. And you also control that item. So the way that I read that is you can do this with enemy items as well. So you can use it with Solaris Stormcaster. I got confused for a second. But yeah, so the way I read this is you can take an enemy item, because it's just target. Oh no, it does say item you own. My mistake. I was thinking of a different card, I think. But anyways, you can move an item you own, which means it's your card is started in your deck, to a target realm, and you control that item. So if someone takes your item, there is a card that takes an item. Well, now you can take it back. Okay, so you control it. All right. So I hope that wasn't too confusing there. And then we also got a couple lands. Biocircuit Plant. When you play your third heliosynth land, you untap it. So this is great for getting some free actions. Gearheart Enclave Inner. All right, and Kingdom 2, which means you have 2 lands out. When you play an item in this realm, you may put a shield counter on target wonder. That shield prevents it from being targeted. Or no, from the stone being taken. I always confuse the two. Okay, I had it right the first time. It prevents a target wonder from being targeted. Okay, that sounded confusing. It prevents a wonder from being targeted. So if I put a shield counter on, for example, let's see, what do we have here on Circuitous Q7? Someone tries to destroy it or taps it or whatever, while the shield counter is just taken away. So this could be pretty good. It is secondary, so you can add another one to it. And then the other heliosynth he has, Trinity Barboni, Desperado Cowboy. Okay, we got a little bit of a cowboy theme here in the heliosynth. While equipped, it gets +3. Okay, so it is 2 cost, 3 power. When it's equipped, it gets +3. So it could be equipped with Solaris Stormcaster. All right. So now it's at 5 power. And then when you attack, no, it's at 6 power. And then when you attack, it takes an enemy wonder, gives them -6. So you could destroy an enemy wonder, or you could attack and you could be 5 points under, right? They could have 10 power. You could have 5 power in a realm, but you slap this Solaris Stormcaster on Trinity Barboni. Now when you attack, you're at, what's the number? 8, and they go down to 5 or 4 even. So there's some math there, but it'll make more sense on the board. And that's really good. You could also use Catch, all right, to move an item, move an equipment to target realm, and when it comes into a new realm, you can equip it as a free action. So you could equip Trinity Barboni, and all of a sudden, with 1 spell, you could give Trinity Barboni +3 plus whatever the equipment gives them. So I think we've got some pretty good, all that to say, I think we've got some pretty good building up for a deck here. So we're going to go into Wonders of the First Codex, and if you have never used the Codex before, you're not sure even what this is where you can look at all the cards and as well as all the decks to get some starting points or get some ideas, or just start building your deck so you can see how many points your deck is, or maybe what cards you might want to have for that. So if you have never used it before, in the top right corner of this video, I will have a link to the Codex walkthrough. It's much better than this video is turning out to be, but you can see how to use the Codex. So first thing I'm going to do, now that I kind of know a little bit, I think we're going to do something with items with this one, because we've got some item play with Gearheart Enclave. We've got some item play with Catch. We've got some item play with Trinity Barboni. I think we can do some really cool stuff with items. So what I'm actually going to do is go to the decks, and I'm going to filter out first, and I'm going to double check what decks do they have that have heliosynth. Let's see here. Well, this shows up, let's see here. Can we do, no. Let's just look up decks with helio in it, okay? Okay, so Dr. Bray heliosynth, helio late game, all right, from Lane. Romal, is that one of the artists? Okay. Oh, that's the pre-constructed deck. All right. Helio Faith. We got some Faith stuff here. We got a card already that gives us Faith with the Circuitous Q7. And then we got another pre-con here, Synthetic Steel. I'm going to take a look at this one. Let me take a look at this one. All right, so this one is made by Peter, and it says Helio deck using Faith and Attuned. Well, we've got a card that has Faith. We've got a card that has Attuned. Let's see if he's using some of the cards that we already have. All right, so looking at this deck, it sits at, how many points is it? I don't want to do a 12,500 point deck. Okay, 712. Very nice starter deck. Under 750, so it's a little bit of a popper deck, despite having the utterly complex bow. Let's see what else we got. So we got Life Engine Heart, uncommon, on arrival gain 3 faith, sacrifice free, meaning it doesn't take an action to sacrifice, gain 6 faith. Even though it's a secondary, they only have 1 in here. Equipped Wonder gets, Scorpion's Edge, common item. It is an equipment. Equipped Wonder gets +2. At the end of round, you may return this to your hand. So again, this one, when you throw it on Trinity Barboni, he gets +3. So he gets 3 + 3 + 2. So 8. So you put You spend 2 energy, 1 if you have a heliosynth, and Trinity Barboni gets +5. That's huge, and you don't have to do an attune, so I really like that. Utterly complex mode, put a shield counter on this on arrival, and then Equipped Wonder gets on battle, draw 2 cards, gain 1 energy, and put 2 -1 counters on target enemy. As far as I know, this is the only non-Umbrathine card that does -1 counters, so that's pretty cool. And it's attuned, doesn't take an action, so there's lots of actions here. Cybernetic Enhancement, item, common, Equipped Wonder gets +3 and is a biosynth in addition to its other classes. Attuned heliosynth, so again, 2 energy, put this on Trinity Barboni, he gets +6. Trinity Barboni is really good. All right, we got Tremendous Automatic Sentinel. Whenever an opponent attacks in this realm or an adjacent realm, put 20 -1 counters on target enemy wonder in that realm until the end of battle. Now it is 10 cost, but I mean, might put 20 -1 counters. Hello. V8 Wanderer, move target wonder you control to target realm on arrival. And then on round start, you may remove target wonder you control to target realm. So again, now we're getting into like moving things around, which again, kind of fits in with what we're trying to do with Catch here. You get the Black Hole Blunderbuss, big old hand cannon there. Equipped Wonder gets +9, and it's attuned, and it only costs 5 for if you have Heliosynth Link. And then Lamp of Lutheria. I hate this card. All wonders in this realm are nullified. Now this is an epic. I think this is one of the epics I don't have. So all wonders in this realm are nullified. I'm going to take a quick second here and just double check. Okay, so there's Circuitous Q7 in here. Let's see. I'm looking for wonders that he already has, because I don't want to start doing a deck. Okay, so there's a Techno Historian, Nova Matrix Bender. Now this one we might. Well, I don't know. This gets the abilities of all non-equipment items you control. So this is like basically coming in and getting equipped by every equipment that's on the board, which is pretty good. I don't know if you can do it that without that one. This one is using the lands that he has. Actually, it does not use Biocircuit Plant, so he might have to do some changes there. Uses the Catch, uses the Commune with Technology, and then Sirocco Blast. So it also uses tokens. Heliosynth tokens, I find, are about middle of the road. Seems tough to pull Boundless tokens. There's plenty of Petriad tokens. As far as Heliosynth, actually, you know what? I don't know if there's too many that I have. But this does throw out some tokens. So you can see just by looking at the items here, there are some great items, and this might be a good starting point for an item-based deck. But some of these other wonders, he doesn't have, nor do I think I have. But I think that's a good starting point. So let's go back here to the decks. We don't need to go to my decks. Let's see here. Community decks, filters, and again, we're going to look for something that has Helio in the name. I thought you could search by things that have, by orbital, but I guess you can only search by card. So actually, let's do this. Let's go to the Solaris Stormcaster. Let's see what decks use Solaris Stormcaster. Free is good. Go hard. Attack. Roaming Boss. Helio late game. Let me take a look at this one. This was another one that showed up here. And this is, of course, building an engine that really goes off on round 7. Don't see too many of the cards that he has. There is a Trinity Barboni. Let's see. There is the Gearheart Enclave. There is the Biocircuit Plant. Does have a splash of a couple other colors, but that's not a problem because these are commons. Well, common and uncommon. So this could be a much better deck. What's the point value on this one? 981. So this is a pretty competitive deck that you could bring into another one. What's the epic count? Epic count. We got 1 mythic. There's a promo card. We'll have to replace that because I'm not giving away my promos. Sorry. Let's see. Prime Leofun is a mythic. Versi Hollow Heart is an epic. So we can do some good stuff with these cards. All right. Now let me see if there's any other decks that have Solaris in it. But I like that deck. I'm going to put a pin in it. Rise of the Valkyries. Budget friendly. I like that sign. Missionary. Budget friendly. I like that sign. Highest DBS possible. 3,300. That's wild. Double Death. That sounds interesting too. Let's see. Keeping Faith. This one's got some faith stuff. So let's see. Now, I wonder. See, I can't open it in a new tab. I wish I could. That way I could do some organization here. Let me take a look at this one. And let's see. So it does have a Solaris Stormcaster. It does require 2 life. Well, Life Engine Heart's an uncommon. Let's see here. It does use a Gear Heart Enclave. Does use a Biocircuit Plant. Let's see. We're building a lot of faith on this one. So we got the Solaris. It's not using the faith that we have, unfortunately. Which is the Circuitous Q7. I don't see that one in here. So that's still a maybe. And let's go one more time, looking for decks that use Solaris. There was another one that I wanted to look at. It was the budget friendly. There's 2 of them here. There's Missionary and there's Rite of the Valkyries. They're both 1,000 points. Both are by Kelvarin. Let's look at this one. Might be a sign. We got Solaris Stormcaster here. All right, use free attuned equipment and ascend to set up an unbeatable round 7. So this is using some ascend abilities, but I'm seeing some very budget-friendly cards. That is 100% sure. And let's take a look at that other one. And you can see a little bit of like some of the feature requests that we want to see inside of Cardio. Let's look at the Missionary. This does have the Circuitous Q7. Okay, so it does use half green, half heliosynth, which isn't going to be the best with Biocircuit Plant because you want more heliosynth land. So let's go back to the other one. Let's see if we can build a deck with the other one. And I think we can do quite a bit of work with this one. Solaris. And what I'm going to have to do, because there's not a great way to copy a deck. Was it Rise of the Valkyries? That was the one we liked? Yeah. There's not a great way to copy a deck, so unfortunately I'm going to have to take some screenshots and then we're going to build a deck ourselves using some of the cards that we have. Okay, and there's the land. All right, and so this one we are combining faith. We are combining attuned and equipment, so we may not have to use the Circuitous Q7. But we got the Solaris Stormcaster being used. We've got Desert Survivor Suit. It's an item, equipment. Uncommon if Wonder would be destroyed or targeted. Destroy this instead if you do gain 1 action. So it's like a shield counter on steroids. Cybernetic Enhancement, +3 and attuned. Scorpion's Edge and other equipment, +2 attuned, and you can return it back to your hand. Then we add the Comet Cleaver. Opponents can't attack in this realm when you play it, and equipped Wonder gets +1. We do have the catch, so you can move items around. We add a static shock. This round, whenever an enemy Wonder attacks, it gets -2 until end of round. We do get a punish here. That is a boundless, but there's some boundless stuff in here. Punish, banish target Wonder that battled on this round. So we got some more of getting rid of things. We've got cast out. Look at the top 2 cards of target player's deck and banish any number of them. All right, we got Lunar Empowerment, common spell, up to 2 target Wonders with Ascend have their Ascend abilities become active this round. And then we get to the Wonders that have Ascend. We've got Nestla Majoris on Ascend. She gets +4. We've got Valkyrie Valorum, Ascend. This gets +6, and it's flying. Xenic, we have Ascend, gets +2 for each enemy Wonder. Professor Tiberius, when this becomes equipped, draw a card. This is great for moving stuff around with catch and then re-equipping, and also the Scorpion's Edge. You got Hex Hunter, tap free, attacking enemies get -1 this round. Okay, so we're doing some more enemy damage. On arrival, put a shield counter on Lionessa Celestine. So these are all very affordable cards. We got Techno Historian. So we might, since Circuitous Q7 is the one faith card, we might just not use that one. I'd hate to not use it. And then we got a couple of just good Wonders there. And then some lands and no tokens. So this looks like a deck that we might build. Now, are there any cards that we have? So I'm okay getting rid of the Circuitous Q7. It does need cast. It does need Solar Stormcaster. It does need Bio Circuit Plant. It does need Gearheart Enclave. Right? And that's perfect because he's got 2 of those and it needs 2 of those. And then Trinity Barboni, since he has a Trinity Barboni and it does get a bonus while equipped, I might do Trinity Barboni instead of Patch Squibbler. Because Trinity Barboni is not in here. And Trinity Barboni is not going to add too many more points. We're already over 750, so we're already in the next bracket. So we might just go ahead and replace Patch Squibbler with Trinity Barboni. So let me go ahead and what we'll do is, let's see here. How many lands are we running? We're running 10 lands. So I think we're going to take this deck, but we're going to do a couple things. Number one, I think we're going to add 2 more lands to it and run 12 lands. So we're going to take away Ethereal Enigmist, because that's just, I mean, it is a 7-power beastie, but it is a vanilla beast. And then instead of Patch Squibbler, we're going to run 2 Trinity Barbonis to get that extra equipment bonus there. Now, I think also what I would do, man, let me see. So the 2 lands we're going to add, I think we're going to kick this up a notch. So let me go ahead and copy this, and we're going to come back and build that deck. And actually, we're going to go ahead and do it together. So let me go ahead and copy these items and spells, and then I'll copy the wonders, and then I will copy the lands. And this is where future requests I would love to have. I want to be able to duplicate this deck and make changes, and there's not really a great way to do that. So I have to go into decks, my decks, build a deck, and deck builder. I'm going to go ahead and go to the settings real quick, and we're going to call it, what are we going to call it here? So we're doing items. How about you 2 are an item? You 2 are an item. You attuned are an item. You are tuned. You attuned are an item. That's kind of lame. Okay, you 2 are an item. All right, we'll call it experimental. Okay. Deck build for viewer. And unfortunately, I think we are going to get around 1,000, so I'm going to go ahead and put that there. And then let's go ahead and put the Trinity here. And we'll keep it private for now. All right, and let's start adding some cards to the deck. And I'm going to pull up my screenshots here. All right, so we want 2 Solaris Storm Castles. So we'll do Solaris. Actually, what we might do is, let's do this. This might be a little bit easier. So I'm going to go Heliosynth, and then I'm going to do items, and then we're just going to go right down the list. Okay, so we need Cybernetic and Desert Suit. Okay, we need 2 of these. 2 Cybernetics, right? 3 Cybernetic, 3 Desert Suit. And add. Then we need 3 Desert Suits. Add. All right, and then we need 3 Scorpions and 2 Solaris. Add. 2 Solaris. All right, and then we need a common cleaver, so we'll go ahead and change this to Boundless and grab that common cleaver. I think there's 2 in there. Yep. All right, and then spells. We might go ahead and just do Boundless and Heliosynth. And you notice that it doesn't put it in alphabetical order. I'm not sure what order it chooses, so I'm going to have to do this in my head. So we need 1 cast out, 1 catch, which is perfect because we got the catch. And we need 2 Lunar Empowerment, a Punish, and a Static Shock. So we're looking for Lunar Empowerment, 1 Punish, and a Static Shock, 2 Static Shocks. All right, and that's that one. And then we need the Wonders. These are mostly Boundless Wonders. All right, and we're taking out Ethereal, and we want to do 2 Trinity Barbonis, and those are primary, so we can have 2 of them. So let's go ahead and throw those in here. And we got a few more wonders here. So let's see. I'm going to have to do this one in order because I'm going to lose my place. So Nessala, 2 Nessala and 2 Valkyria. All right. And then 2 Xenic and 2 Professor Tiberiuses. All right. I mean, 2 Hex Hunters and 2 Lionesses. And 2 Sequestrious Presence and 2 Techno Historians. At least those are next to each other. Oh no, that's Techno Nomad. We need to get that out of here. All right, and then we said we're not going to do any Ethereals, and we're going to do 2 Trinity Barbonis. All right, and then the last ones we need are the spells. No, the lands. Okay, so we're going to do 2 Eclipse Enclaves. Two Synapse Ridge. 2 Gearheart Enclaves, which he has, which is perfect. 2 Celestium Heights. And 2 Biocircuit Plants. And I do believe that I want... So this puts us right at 749. Oh, man. And we need 2 more cards, right? Let me go ahead and save. So the wonders that we're not using was ethereal. So what is ethereal? So this one's 11 points. Now, the land I was thinking about was Ethereal Grove. Oh, where we can take that off. And the reason why I like this is because you can duplicate someone else's deck. So that brings us up to 830. Now the question is, would you rather have, I mean, you're still going to be, okay, so let's do this because I really want to see if we can get it below 750. So the problem is if we add Ethereal, it's going to take us over, but just over. If we add 2 of these, that takes us to 771. Now, Cybernetic Enhancement. Let's see here. What in here is giving us the most points? We can go to preview, right? Not quite. So this puts us right at 7. So Cybernetic Enhancement is 10 points. Cast Out, Catch. What about Punish? What's the difference between Cast Out and Punish? Because they're not the same card, but they're gonna function the kind of the same. Punish. Punish is pretty expensive. Okay, banish target wonder that battled this round. And Cast Out is going to help us look at the top 2 cards and banish any number of them. So Punish helps you get rid of something that's on the board. Cast Out helps you get rid of something that's out there. So if I get rid of Punish and double up on the Cast Out, oh, look at that, 752. Oh my gosh. We are just right on that. Right on that line. Right on that line. Let's do this. Man, that is so tough. All right, let's take a look at a couple other cards here. Need to move my screen capture. So we got some Ascend cards in here. If we go to metrics, where are we at here? We still only got 10 lands, which I'm not a huge fan of. But if I'm going to try to get this under 750. We've got 20 wonders. We've got 7 spells and 13 items. We might be able to get rid of a spell for a cheaper item. But I don't know which spell I want to get rid of. Catch, Lunar Empowerment, and Static Shock. Let's see what those cost. So Catch, I imagine, is going to be a little... Oh, no, Catch is cheap. Static Shock. It's going to be 22 points. So we could swap a Static Shock for a Catch. Static Shock right here is giving a -2 to end of round. But it's when they attack, and it's this round. So you could play Static Shock, and it stops them from attacking. They might use the round to draw or move some stuff around, set some pieces. In my experience, though, when you do Static Shot, it's just going to prevent them from attacking. It's really best played on round 7. So that could be something. Maybe we take 1 out and add a Catch. That takes us under 750. So we've got Static Shock. We can try to draw into it. And we've got Catch to help us move things around the board. This might be the play. Because we just need 1 Static Shock. We're going to try to play it on round 7. We don't want to play it before round 7. And so hopefully we can draw into it. Now, this also gives us some more points to play around with, but I don't know if I want to. So we might just save it here. Okay, now let's take a look at the metrics, or the cost curve. You know, we've got quite a bit of 2 costers, and we really want to get those lands. What in here costs 2 points? I mean, what in here? Let's see. Because I really want to add some lands, but what do you? I mean, we could add the land. We could take away Aether, but Ethereal. I keep calling it Aether. Ethereal Enigmist. He's not worth that much, right? He's only worth 11. And the problem is that these lands, we've got 2 of each land, right? So we could take Ethereal out and add a couple more lands, but they got to be cheap lands. Well, they could be more expensive, excuse me. So if I do Boundless and Heliosynth lands, we could do another Biocircuit. We could do another Celestium. We could put in a Market of Lost Wonders. That's just a great land to have, period. In fact, if you're going to be playing Boundless, you might as well play Market of Lost Wonders. You also may as well play Indra's Citadel. So let's do that. Let's take out Ethereal. And let's put in a Market and maybe an Indra's Citadel. This will also help kick off the kingdoms as well. So now we've got 12 lands. We're sitting at 735. I'm liking this a lot more. Now, Mount of Helios, I don't know. Do we want Mount of Helios? The mythic Heliosynth land. Gain Faith? No, because we're not doing Faith. Talmeca Outskirts is pretty nice if you have Faith as well. Synapse Ridge is nice to have, but since we're doing dual colors or dual orbitals, this may be the deck. I'm pretty happy with this one. I am pretty happy with this one. Now we're running 12 lands. That's more comfortable for me. Me, typically, when I build a deck, I want 14. But we're running 12 lands. Oh, but you know what? The other thing, too, is Market's hard to get a hold of. So we might... Indra's pretty popular, too. But I think I have some that I can give. So let's do that. Let's take Market out, and let's put in an Indra Citadel. And again, if money was no option, hey, run the Market. That's also going to bring the points up right up to 747. Look at that. This is a great. I think this is a great 747 deck. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my collection. I'm going to see how many of these cards I have. I think I have all these cards. Indra Citadel might be a little bit of a flip, but I think I have the rest of these cards. So I'm going to go through my collection, and I'm going to put together a full deck, and then I'm going to take the cards out that he already has. Let's see what we can do here. All right, so I went through all of my cards, and I pulled out everything in that deck. There is a one swap I have to make because I didn't have enough of the card, unfortunately, and it was the Indra Citadel, which I'll show last, the swap that I had to make. But first, I did build the whole deck, and since you already have, the viewer already has these cards in his collection, I'm going to go ahead and pull these out because, I thought about just doing the whole deck and sending him the whole deck, but, correct me if I'm wrong, I think using the cards that you pulled out of the packs is just a little more fun and a little more valuable. So these are the cards that he already has. I'm going to go ahead and keep those. And then we got the rest of the cards from the deck that we modified. I don't want to say we built it, but we modified it. And I got the rare Indra Citadel in the back. So we've got all the cards here in order. Let me zoom in a little bit. In order of the deck build. So very good quality on a lot of these too. Not a lot that are rubbed off on the corners or anything. So this deck is ready to go. And like I said, I only had one Indra Citadel. So I had to make a quick swap. I hope you don't mind. But I went ahead and grabbed my foil Indra Citadel to include with the deck. So I hope you don't mind. Unfortunately, I just had one paper, but I had two foil. So, I'll give you one. That's totally cool. I do have the Formless foil as well if anyone wants to buy or sell or trade for that. And then also I went ahead and the deck calls for two Solaris Stormcasters. He's in here somewhere. I decided to go ahead and include those two because the one that you have is foil. And if possible, you don't want to play with foil. So I went ahead and included two. You can take that out and play with the foil that you pulled. And then eventually you'll get an Indra Citadel paper and you can just keep this. And speaking of keeping, I wanted to include just a couple more things. Some things that I think every player should have, as well as something just to say how much this means to me that you found me on Discord and you follow my channel. I'm going to give you a starter deck so you have someone to play with. I understand from the messages that you had just a few packs of cards. You've got a deck, but you want to play with someone. So I'm going to send you this Victory Feast. It's an extra starter deck that I have. Inside of it is, oh, look at that. It's still sealed. I thought I broke it. Inside of it is all the cards. There is a alt art in here that's only available in the starter deck, so enjoy that. But this one is, you have kind of a techie item and moving around and manipulating deck. I think that'll play well against this one. I always do that. I always knock those cards down. Do I need to get new card holders? Did I just buy some cheap ones? Or am I just that clumsy? Are they all that sensitive? Anyways, but this one is focused on big beasts, like getting the stones early and putting out big beasts. I think that'll play really fun against this deck. So I'm going to include that in the package as well. And then some things just as a thank you, some things that I think that every player should have. I'm going to send you the first. I put a paper one in here, but there's one inside of this deck. So you have two now. And I'm going to send you a foil first, just because I think it's a cool thing to have in your collection. And then in honor of the Ethereal Enigmist, we really wanted it in the deck, but, we took it out, and this is in honor, rest in peace. But you can have the Formless foil. I noticed in the collection, the cards that you sent me, you didn't have a Formless foil. So I'm going to send you a Formless foil, and you can see the difference in the cards. This is kind of all three treatments here. You got paper, which is, not shiny. You got foil, which has the silver edges and is shiny. But then you have Formless foil, which is the Ethereal Enigmist. So you can have this one. And then as well, if you wanted to experiment with the deck, since it is tech heavy, item heavy, I'm going to go ahead and send you an Emma Shockbite. I think she'll go well in this deck. All your items have attuned, so you can just play your equipments for free. Well, not for free, but for no action. And then since you have some equipments, any equipped wonder you control attacks, it gets +2. So I think this will go really nicely in the deck. I didn't look and see what it'll do with the point values. It'll probably take it up some points, but I think you need an Emma Fixum Shot Bike as well. So here's all the cards that I think will function very nicely in that deck. So here's the full deck. Here's the deck you can play with, as well as some cards to kickstart your collection and have a little bit of fun with. So thank you for watching. Thank you for the request. And if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. I'm going to showcase my collection next, and you can see where all these cards come from and how I organize, and a few other goodies, including my binder, which I have right here. You can see my collection binder of all my Wonders of the First cards that I'm collecting. So that'll be coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Adios.